Texas Funeral Service Commission. Good morning. I will call this meeting of the Texas Funeral Service Commission to order. Commissioner Tips and I are physically present here in Austin, and I will proceed to call the roll of all the commissioners. Presiding Officer Larry Allen. Can you say here?
Here.
Okay. Commissioner Combest.
Here.
Myself, Eric Opiella here. Assistant Presiding Officer, Commissioner Diane Heffley is absent. Commissioner Sapansky.
Here.
Commissioner Tips.
Present.
And Commissioner Brown.
Present.
Okay, a quorum is present. Commissioner Heffley is absent. Is there a motion to excuse her absence?
I move to excuse Commissioner Heffley's absence.
I will second that motion. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Commissioner Heffley is excused. The next item on our agenda is discussion on an interim executive director. As we all know, our executive director, James White, resigned earlier this month to take a position with Texas State University System. And so we need to name an acting interim executive director. And the floor is open for discussion on that.
Well, I just want to say, first of all, we're grateful to James, Mr. White, for his hard work and everything that he has done to help the commission along, even during this last legislative process, and kind of getting us going and getting us on the right track as we start, merging in the anatomical board. And I am grateful for his service to the commission and to our profession. And I just want to start off with that.
No, I think that's, I wish we could honor him in a more significant fashion right now, but I think at our next meeting, hopefully he'll be able to be present and we can recognize his service in a more appropriate fashion. And I too share that. I think everyone on the commission is very grateful for how he has helped us over the last, since the last legislative session.
Absolutely.
So, we have to name someone before we post the position for executive director. Does anyone have any nominations for the position of acting interim executive director?
Commissioner Opiella, this is Commissioner Sapansky. I move to appoint Ms. Hartsfield as interim executive director effective today.
Okay. Commissioner Sapansky has named Sarah Hartsfield, and what is your married name now?
It's Kim from
Kim.
Cornell Hartsfield.
Okay. Sarah Hartsfield to serve as the acting interim executive director. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Is there any discussion?
Well, I do have a little discussion.
Okay.
Is that something you would be interested in doing?
I would be very honored to do it. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
We have a good team here already. Everyone has kind of stepped up to the plate, and yes, I'm excited to see that opportunity and continue to help carry on Director White's legacy and help us as we navigate the anatomical and the funeral service industries.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good.
The only other item that I think we need to have in the motion is to set the salary for the position. I would move to amend the motion to set the salary at the salary that Executive Director White had while he was serving, which I believe was $105,000 per annum. Is there a second to my motion?
I'll second it.
Okay. Is there any discussion on the amendment to the motion?
Commissioner Opiella, I'd just like to have a discussion on that.
Yes.
let me just give you my recommendation and reasoning behind it. I would like to recommend, increasing, Mrs. Kemp's salary to, I believe, what is your current salary right now? Is it 95?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
So I would recommend going up to the 100, $5,000 increase as the interim. And obviously, our hopes is to get something finalized and have a permanent executive director. If that's something that she would like to apply for, that would be great. But you know, my thought on that is in the interim process, just increasing it to by 5,000, and then waiting until we actually approve a permanent executive director.
Okay, any other discussion?
I feel like that, our salary is low as it is, so I feel like we need to get it to the top right off the bat. I think it warrants that. And so that's kind of my spot on that. So I do have a question. If Mrs. Hartsfield, if this moves into this, how does that look on, her role will be performing both roles? Is that correct?
Yes, sir, that would be correct. So Mrs. Brister and I have already kind of talked about maybe looking at getting a intern to kind of help with some of the legal aspects, since I would be moving maybe just for the summer, as we're like, as we have to go through the process for the executive director posting. And then so we're also in the strategic planning report that has to be submitted by June 1st. So we're already in the middle of having to reorganize and look at how the agency structure is going to be for the next 5 years. So part of that is going to be incorporated that we may have to redelegate some tasks based on with the new anatomical duties coming on board. But we have already before Director White was leaving, I was starting to put some processes in place to help things flow smoothly. Like I know Ms. Sparks and I have done a good job of getting some of the comparison with the criminal history applicants, and then we're about to tackle some more of the compliance. Our investigators are doing a good job of how improving their efficiency, and then licensing. I'm putting them more in training to take on more of the anatomical role. So I had them sit on a phone call earlier this week just to kind of navigate how to do things. So I'm all about delegation because I know we can't do it all, and I do think in order to have a well-run ship, it should be able to operate if one person is absent. And so we're looking at ways to make sure there are people, more than one, who can handle things in case whether I may have to be out or someone's sick or whatnot. But I know it's not a short answer, but that it's kind of a well-rounded, here's what we're trying to implement.
Well, I feel like, that you are actually the perfect spot for the interim for sure, just because of the inner workings that you had, with Dr. White and the transition over to the anatomical as well. So, anyways, I'm glad that, you're willing to help step up and do this. And that's the reason for me that it warrants just where I was at on that salary. So.
Thank you, sir.
So Commissioner Combest, are you suggesting, just so I'm clear, that we set the salary at 107,948, which is the amount that was authorized by the legislature last session?
I think what you had mentioned was a 10, did I hear 105 or whatever?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, that's where I was at.
Okay. Because I'm willing to withdraw my motion if that's what you wanted to do.
Look,
I would have to withdraw my motion.
Sure, I'm very open to, as Commissioner Sapansky said, his take on it. You guys have mine. I'm very open to having that conversation with all of you guys about what we need to do. But we're in a vital spot right at this moment, and I feel like it warrants it on my seat. So.
Okay. Any other discussion on the amendment? The amendment is to set the salary at 105,000.
May I just
Yes.
interject? And I'm very honored and thank you all very much. I actually was not expecting that part today. And so because of that, what I may need to check with our CFO, because I think there was the budget of that I would stay at my current salary until the end of this month. And then in May, I think that's what we were projecting, that the increase could occur. So, if that is how the commission wishes to move forward, then I would recommend I can see if, our CFO can come in to see if we can make that, but I also don't want to put the agency in a tough
Financial.
spot. Yes, sir. So if we could leave my salary where it is for this month, and then if it's the will of the commission to do the 105, have that start May 1st.
Okay. I'm trying
May
to think
1st
of
or-
how we would structure that.
They effective May 1st.
Well, we want to appoint her effective today.
Correct.
At a salary of 95, and then and then appoint her at the new salary beginning May 1st. I think that could work. Okay, so in order to do that, I'm going to withdraw my motion. It has been seconded, so I believe under Robert's rules, it does require, you'd have to withdraw your second. Who gave the second to that motion? Y'all remember?
I believe it was Mr. Brown, but I could be wrong.
This,
Commissioner Brown, did you second my motion?
No, I second the first motion. I did not second your motion.
Okay, Commissioner Sapansky, did you second my motion?
No, he made it.
I
then.
No, I did not.
Oh, she seconded it.
I was I don't think we did
Yeah.
a second.
Yeah, I'm looking here. I don't.
Okay,
have
well-
a second to yours, so.
Okay, so then I'll just withdraw my motion, and I'll entertain a motion to set salaries for the interim executive director.
And appointment.
Well, it would be an amendment to the original motion, which is to appoint. And so I'll just go ahead and do that.
I understand.
I'll go ahead and do that. I move to amend the original motion to appoint Sarah Hartsfield as the interim executive director at a salary of 95,000 effective today. And additionally, at the salary of 105,000 beginning May 1st. Is there a second?
I will second.
Go ahead.
Who
I will
second
second that. I will.
Commissioner Combest seconded. Is there any discussion?
I did.
Chairman Allen, yes.
From past experience, I believe the information we received, we have to give whether exact amount, just 105, or use, like she's probably making 95, in some sense. So I don't know if there needs to be something in the motion concerning that it's an even 95. Does anybody remember that?
I would think you would know what you're being paid. Are you being paid not an even 95 right now?
That's what I accepted.
Yes, and Commissioner Tips just looked it up on the salaries site for our agency, and she is being paid 95,000 even per annum.
Okay, we're in good shape.
Okay, any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the amendment, which, just to recall, is to set the salary at 95,000 today and at 105,000 beginning May 1st. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion carries unanimously. Now the main motion, as amended, is to appoint Sarah Hartsfield as executive director with a salary of 95,000 effective today and a salary of 105,000 per annum effective on May 1st. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. And I meant to say aye as well. I was talking, so. Okay,
Yeah, a couple of
Say again,
Yeah, may I say a couple words?
please.
Sorry. I just want to say thank you all. I wasn't, I guess I just wasn't expecting. I never like to assume. I've thoroughly enjoyed my time here and working with you all, learning the industry. And you do have a good group of licensees. And it's just been an honor, and just want to say thank you very much. And I look forward to working with you all more closely in the future.
Thank you. Thank you for taking the reins. We really appreciate it.
you.
And this is an important time. As we work on our legislative appropriations request, our strategic planning, we have to have good leadership. And I think you'll serve well in that position. So thank you. Our next item is the discussion on the job posting description for executive director. I'll recognize Commissioner Sapansky, who I believe has been working on that.
Yes, thank you, sir. Well, I'd like to start by just recognizing Chairman Allen. First of all, we haven't been here before. This is something that we've experienced in the past, and I just want to recognize Chairman Allen for just kind of stepping in and taking control and making sure that we get this the ship back in order. He kind of delegated some tasks for me. And I've worked closely with the staff, all of the staff, and they worked very, very hard and very quickly. Obviously, you see how quickly we had this meeting set up. There was a lot of work behind the scenes to make sure that happened. The job description that you have in front of you, I think the majority of the staff had some input on that. We've updated this a couple of years ago, but we have recently updated it with salaries and some extra language. I'm sure you've all had a chance to take a look at that, as well as updating the location of the building. So I just want to appreciate everybody that took the time in their busy schedule to get on this, to make sure that all the commissioners had this in front of them prior to the meeting, so that we could vote on this today. I know we don't really want to be here having to do this, but this is something that just needs to get done. And I appreciate Mrs. Kemp for stepping up and taking on this interim role, and then even helping with this next set of duties with the job description, because we really need to get this out, get this thing posted, and go through that interview process so that we can appoint a permanent executive director. So thank you to all the staff that worked really hard and quickly on getting this done. Again, I can go over this. I think everybody had a chance to look at it. We've updated this a couple of years ago when we hired Director White. Some of the changes obviously is the salary. You'll notice the updated salary. We added some language in the job summary, which I think was good. It talked about the occupational codes and the health and safety codes that the executive director would have to oversee. Also, the representation of the director representing themselves in the different organizations, whether it's a legislative body, elected officials, professional association, educational institutions, licensees, consumers, and other governmental agencies or entities at the local, state, and federal level. So I think this is a great document. I guess we could just open it up for discussion before we make a motion. Does anybody have any comments or anything that they'd like to add or remove from this document?
I would like to highlight that part in that job summary there. The several words were added to that responsibility area, and about the non-transplant whole body donation in the state of Texas. That's a crucial addition to that job description, and we have mountains to climb in that area in the days to come. So that's an excellent addition. Thank you, for the folks that studied this and taking us forward in this job description summary.
I would agree with that. Well, the only other comment I have on it is there is one minor typo on the essential function 6. It has right after 6.4.
4 and 5, sorry.
Oh, I see. I see that. There is, we would need to renumber 5. The line 5 is not an actual item. That's just the line due to the carriage return right before that. So if we could have the staff fix that typographical error prior to posting,
There should just be 7 essential functions, not 8.
that's correct. And to eliminate the additional 4 after the,
Correct,
what should be 5.
correct, yes, sir.
And I don't think that require, we haven't made a motion yet. You haven't made a motion yet. I don't know if you want to incorporate that into your motion, Commissioner Sapansky, or if you,
So,
We can do it.
okay, and one other thing that I failed to mention when it comes to the salary, and we had a little bit of a discussion, previously, is if you look, that you have the 95.5 to 107,948. That 107,948 is the increase that the commission is allowed to go up to, and that will not affect any staff salary or anything like that. It's been confirmed that this is the maximum amount that an executive director can get paid in this position, and it does not affect the staff's increase or their future increase. Just wanted to clarify that, because I know we were at the 105 and change, and now it says 107, so that's an increase that's coming.
any, I guess,
So
do you have a motion?
Sure, so let me open that up. So I move to post the job description as proposed by staff with the following changes that Commissioner Opiella recommended.
Is there a second?
Second,
I can second that.
Okay, Commissioner Brown. Is there any further discussion?
Do we need to appoint somebody to have it posted? Just don't want to miss something if it's. Or
We would just direct staff.
Or Ms. Brister to post it and, okay.
And I think another part of the discussion we need to have is, we would probably want to set up, because I think this would be under this agenda item, and correct me if I'm wrong, and if we need to do this in another meeting, we could do that. What we probably need to do, as we did before, is to set up a subcommittee to evaluate applications and then bring them to the board at a future meeting. And we also probably need to set a closing date as well.
Is
Um,
there a closing date on that, or is it
There's
until?
not.
Open until filled.
I think maybe at another meeting, we will have to have an agenda item to appoint a committee, I guess.
So we
hire a
couldn't do that under this agenda item.
No, I don't
Okay.
think so.
And that's fine.
So
We, you
I-
know, we're gonna talk on our next agenda item about agenda items for the next meeting and setting our next meeting, so. We,
Because the committee would help with kind of, if there's little change or something, or evaluating without having a meeting for that. That's typically what in the past, we've done when we do these items. Like,
but in order to do that,
appointing-
we would have to have an agenda item specifically for the appointment of that committee, and we don't have that posted for this meeting. So we will have to have another commission meeting, and we
I
probably,
believe we have
It
one
can't fall
coming up.
under,
that's what I was asking.
Yeah, and
I
we
thought that
still
it
have
could.
Scheduled one.
actually.
Sorry, let me,
This is Commissioner Sapansky. I had a question
Yes.
about that because I couldn't quite hear Commissioner Tips, so I apologize if I'm repeating anything that she said. But in the past, we had an executive committee set up. The resumes would come in, they would get filtered through the HR, HR would get them to the executive committee. If, for example, if there's, 5 or 10 resumes, the executive committee would handle all of that. And then they would present to them, to the full board. Well, the full board could still have access to all of the resumes, but the executive committee would come with their recommendations. I think that was already in place, and I guess my understanding was that that's something that we could just already do, but I could be wrong, since that's what we had done in the past.
No, you're correct.
It would also be coming up with the questions that everyone has, the committee handles that, and then it's presented and the board votes on it, then can do the interview and the score sheet. It just kind of keeps the process moving.
Oh, I agree. I would like to do that, but I'm asking from the Attorney General's office whether or not we need, I guess one question is, do we even need to do that? Because we appointed one last time we hired an executive director, or did that committee expire after we hired an executive director? Does it still exist? Do we need to do that as part of this motion? And can we do that as
I
part of
don't
this?
think
Or is that
we
something the
can under
chairman
this
can just
motion.
appoint?
Whether we can do it without coming to a meeting, I can look into after the
So
meeting.
it probably depends on the language when the sub panel was created to begin with, like whether it just said for that particular. But I can help her look into that.
And if we probably will come together in the next month for another meeting. So we can address it at that time, but you're saying we cannot do that as part of the motion. We can only approve the discretion, the description and posting that description. to the-
Can I make a comment?
Yes, Chairman Allen.
Excuse me, Commissioner Tips. I agree with the vice chair. We did appoint that committee. The board gave me, as I remember, the authority to select that committee, and that's what I remember doing. So, like everybody's saying, the committee is still there, but so in my mind, I'm thinking we could just go forward with the previous committee that was selected. And I think Commissioner Sapansky and Commissioner Tips worked on that project. I might be wrong, but so that's
would
my
say-
comment.
That predates me, and so I can't say for certain that occurred before I was here, so I don't know exactly what language was used. But if that's the case, then great, but based on today's agenda, I don't think we can appoint or reappoint one today.
Okay.
I just didn't know, because we're talking about the job posting. Well, then what happens after it's posted?
Right.
And we need to start, looking and coming up with the questions so that at the next meeting, the committee has that to present.
And I think that'll definitely, if it doesn't already exist, then that'll be on the agenda for next time. To
Okay.
make sure we have one.
Okay.
Is there
So
any other
why don't-
discussion on the motion? Go ahead, Commissioner Sapansky.
No, I would just say that if we do find out that Chairman Allen can just appoint, then I don't think we need to have another meeting to do that. He could just make the appointment, and then we can get moving from there. But yeah, we just want to make sure that we have that process in place, and I think the current process is that as the resumes come in, they go to the HR department then would disseminate it, I guess at this point, to all of the commissioners until we figure out that executive committee, but we just want to make sure that process is already in place.
I have a further comment.
Yes, Chairman Allen.
We should still have that outline of questions that check off boxes that we use for the last process. I'll search my files. But probably other commissioners might have that in their emails or from our minutes or meetings from last time. So we have a template probably that we used last time that could be a starter point for us.
I can check, Chairman Allen, I can check in my emails, I probably do have that. I'll see if I can find one.
Thank you. And I think if we could send that maybe to, I don't know if we need to disseminate that at this point. If we find that, I'd let Ms. Kelly kind of give us guidance on that next step. Because I'm sure we might need to add some items to that checklist that we might use for interviews or reviewing the applicants.
And do you have a minimum amount of time after the posting before we, this will probably be getting into the next item, but I think it's relevant to this. For our planning purposes, is there a specific period of time it has to be posted in the law? Do we need to have?
No, I don't believe so.
Is there,
In the HR statutes, we are required to do a minimum of 10 days.
Okay.
So, so we could at least do 10 days. We can do a 30-day posting. If we need to extend it, then we can go in and extend it. Work in Texas doesn't give us the ability to post like an open until filled.
Well, that's the reason I asked it. I know that we have open until filled here, and I thought we had a problem with that last time.
Yeah, we did.
And so I just wanted to bring that up. Is that something that needs to be in the motion or?
I mean, I think effectively it's open until filled, but we'll at least post it for the minimum amount of time and
We
then.
can, yeah, I'm
increase
sorry.
it if we need to.
Okay, okay. Any other discussion on Commissioner Sapansky's motion? Okay, hearing none, Commissioner Sapansky has moved that we post the position of Executive Director as prepared by staff with the ability for staff to correct the typographical errors located in the essential functions section related to the numbering. All in favor say aye.
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 All opposed? The motion passes unanimously. And the next item is recommendations for agenda items for the next committee meeting. It's really next commission meeting, but agenda items for the next commission meeting. Does anyone have any discussion with regards to that agenda item?
Commissioner Opio, this is Commissioner Sapansky. I don't know, maybe we should just make a recommendation. I don't even know if we could pick a date right now, just to come back. Or do we wait to flush out this executive committee?
Well, I believe that that's our next agenda item, is to select the date, time, and location of our next meeting.
okay.
But this is just for specific agenda items that we want to
Okay.
discuss at that meeting. Does any commissioner have any additional agenda items to the hiring of an executive director?
I do not.
Then we can have an interview. But it looks like that pending on what happens with the committee, we might have to add that to the agenda.
Okay. And we'll rely on staff to make that determination and then send it back to us for approval. Okay. Are there any other recommendations for agenda items for our next meeting? Hearing none, our next agenda item is discussion of date, time, and location of our next commission meeting.
Commissioner Opio, I guess I'll just jump in and
Sure.
say what I said before. Do we want to maybe set a date, 2 weeks or 30 days from now and come back, or do we just wait to flush out this executive committee, see what we have here? And I just want to be wise with our time and not have to just keep meeting and meeting, but be efficient with our time. And so I don't know what anyone else thinks about possibly setting a date already, or 2 weeks or a month from now, 30 days from now, to review we already have, which come in the next 30 days.
So I'm a little concerned with not setting it on this, at this meeting. And the reason is I believe Chairman Allen has submitted his resignation as chair to the governor, and the governor hasn't named a chair yet. So would we have the authority, who has the authority to call the next meeting pending the governor's appointment of a presiding officer? Because this body can call a meeting.
Right. Would it be Vice Chair Sapansky? Like, would he, since as Vice Chair, would he step in until the governor does appoint a chair?
Yes.
And
Or
has the governor accepted? I don't know how that works. I don't know if you have to wait until the governor accepts the resignation, or once it was submitted, that was sufficient.
I mean, my understanding is that appointments take quite a while to fill, and
Right.
so I wouldn't expect any change from the governor's office right away. I think
Okay.
Chairman Allen, I think maybe they're considering it. I don't know that they've necessarily accepted it.
Okay.
And
The-
go ahead.
The words were never used accepted or not accepted, but it did kick off the process for appointment of a new person. But the letter I sent did contain that I would remain in the position until the new person was
Okay,
appointed.
great, great, okay. You would continue to serve it. Now, I think that the
Nice.
holdover office holder provision could potentially apply from the state constitution here, that until his successor is duly qualified, that he would continue to serve in that capacity.
Okay. Good.
Okay, good. I didn't know the specific wording of what you had submitted, Chairman Allen.
And real quick, just to follow up with Commissioner Sapansky's proposal about if we did a 30-day, I think we are starting to get into when the second quarterly meeting might be scheduled in case we needed to do, because I think there were some vacation concerns. So it's one, just kind of think on that too, when, like, is it one where maybe we just need to do it 2-day, if it's all gonna be around the same same
Time period.
thank you, not size, of doing quarterly versus, because we will most likely have some anatomical stuff ready for the quarterly meeting. So I don't want to, so it'll probably be a longer meeting. So I don't know if I mean, after this, if I can send out an email to get dates and just see when everyone can do the, I don't know, just those are just my thoughts.
Do we want to talk about a date just so that the staff has more time to prepare? Because that would be the quarterly meeting.
Mhm.
Maybe, because last time we mentioned probably in May, and you have to post 7 days before.
Right.
Should we all just maybe look at a week to see what works for everyone? Maybe the week of the 20th?
Or what if we told, what if every member just told us what dates they're not available in May?
Yeah.
I mean, I like it.
And that would help the staff and Chairman Allen set the next agenda and date, time, and place of the meeting. Does everybody,
So are we
Yeah.
saying
Well-
that the next committee or the next board meeting is supposed to be in May?
There's not supposed to be, but it may likely need to be depending on commissioners' vacations. I think there's a couple weeks in June that will work, so what I can do is I can send out, I think we have less time to work with in June, but I can send out a couple of dates then. And then I guess if y'all just wanna email what dates you're not available for May and June, then we can move forward with one email for the executive director job description, and then job posting interviews, and then the other for the quarterly meeting. Would that suffice, or I didn't mean to cause confusion.
no, do y'all want to handle this via email?
Yes.
That's fine.
That's good.
You guys wanna do it?
Okay,
Yeah,
So I'll
that's,
send out a-
I think the 30-day time period for this posting might play a role. Whenever it gets posted with the Secretary of State or what agency it might go to. Does that play a role when we come up with the end of 30 days that if we run into roadblocks of the appointment of review committee, you know, I'm just tossing those balls up in the air. But if we could get an answer from Helen pretty quick, it might play a role when we decided a possible date for the next meeting.
Well,
Helen,
I hear the consensus is we will communicate to Ms. Hartsfield our availability via email as commissioners have the legal counsel give us some guidance about where we stand with regard to the interview committee and other issues. And so we'll have no action on this item. Okay, I
So,
don't hear any action on the setting of a time, date, and location.
so just to clarify, will Ms. Hartsfield, are you sending out to all of us proposed dates? Or are we sending you what dates do not work for us on our own?
If it would, the latter would be much appreciated.
Sure.
Then I can work through with that, what dates actually work, and then from there I can send out an email.
Absolutely.
With
Yeah,
proposed dates.
just making sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So we do not have any other items on our agenda for this meeting. And so I'll entertain a motion to adjourn at this time.
I move to adjourn the meeting.
Commissioner Tips moves to adjourn this meeting of the Texas Funeral Service Commission. And is there a second?
A second?
Commissioner Sapinski, second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all of those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed? No? Okay. The motion passes. I didn't say no. The motion passes unanimously. The Texas Funeral Service Commission is adjourned.
Thank you all.
Thank you.